How can you tell if your voice sounds good or bad? Okay, if you guys know me at all, you know I don't like those terms, but I had to get your attention somehow. Welcome back to Singing Tips with LJDstudios, the space where we take difficult singing concepts and break them down so you can actually understand and implement them for better singing. I'm Laura, and today we are talking about how to hone your listening skills so you can better critique the sound of your own voice and make the necessary adjustments to sound the way you want to sound. Before we get into it, make sure you like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and if you haven't already, download my free guide, The Three-Tiered Approach to Becoming a Better Singer, linked in the description. Additionally, if you would like some direct feedback from yours truly on your singing, sign up for my membership option. Guys, it's really good bang for your buck in my opinion. I mean, I did make it, so I'm a little bit biased, but you get multiple video feedback lessons from me every single month, access to an online library of all my favorite vocal exercises. You get to attend a live monthly masterclass, get discounts on private lessons, and more. So if you're interested in that, click the link in the description. All right, without further ado, how can you tell if you sound good or bad? Okay, so how can you tell if you sound good? It all just comes down to balance, you guys. And whatever genre you're singing in, that balance is going to be different. But you think about like when you're driving in your car, right? Like you balance the treble and the bass. And everyone's going to have a different bias toward what they like, right? Some people like a lot more bass, some people like a lot more treble. But to a certain extent, you are balancing them into whatever sound is pleasing to you, okay? So when I listen to a voice, I listen for sort of a spherical sound. I like to think of the voice as being like a sphere that has a curved top, a curved front, a curved bottom, and a curved back. And the curved top represents that sort of like lofty quality of ooh, ooh, ooh. You're going to have more of that in some genres than others, but to a certain extent, you always want a little bit of it. The front represents twang. That's like bap, bap, bap. And again, you'll have more of that in some genres than others, but all genres are going to have some of it. The bottom represents laryngeal position and then also just like how much you're kind of like singing from your whole body and from your core. Again, going to be different for all genres, but there's a component to that. And then the back represents pharyngeal space, if you want to get real technical about it, but it's like the space behind like your tongue and in your mouth and in your sinuses and all that space sort of back in here inside of your head. My experience is that most people tend to favor two of these quadrants. Can I call it a quadrant when it's a sphere? I don't know, you guys. Geometry was my worst subject in school, but just go with me. My experience is that most people tend to favor two of those quadrants over the other two. So when you listen to yourself, part of it is just kind of identifying which two quadrants am I favoring and which two quadrants am I avoiding. And do I want more of those other two? Because again, it's not like we're going for a 1-for-1-for-1-for-1 ratio in this, you guys. Again, that balance will be different. So if you're balancing your treble and your bass, you might be going 80 treble, 20 bass. Maybe you're going 70-30. Maybe you are going for a true 50-50. I don't know. You have to decide like what that balance is. But this gives you a starting off point. So let's dig into these four quadrants, if you will, a little bit more specifically. So that top portion of your sphere is the lofty quality of this like ooh, ooh, ooh. And you will have more of that in a classical sound than in a more contemporary sound, but all sounds we want a little bit of it. Because if I'm just singing like, you can hear it's kind of like literally flat versus, right, where I've lifted up something on the top, right? So that's one thing you can kind of listen for. If you are lacking twang, it's going to maybe sound a little bit muffled or a little bit potentially heavy or a little bit dark. So if that's the case, you want things like nyeh, nyeh, nyeh to kind of brighten up the sound. If you are lacking depth, right, if it sounds really kind of perched and light and like you want more weight to it, then you potentially need to either work on lowering your larynx a little bit or more likely using the rest of your body, like do some squats or something to help you kind of engage the rest of your body. And if you are lacking in this back space here, it's going to probably sound a little bit just bright and forward, like overly twangy. If it's overly twangy, then you need a little bit more of this space in the back here. This is going to give you more darkness, more roundness of like, oh, 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 versus So as you can hear, as I'm describing these four quadrants, The top and the back have similar properties, and the front and the bottom have similar properties. But you could live in any two. Like you might be living in the front and the bottom, right? That's possible. You might be living in the top and the back. That's possible. But it's possible for you to sort of be in any of these two more than the other two. So that's what you're listening for. When you're listening for good or bad, you're listening for balance between these four components of your voice, right? So if you can accurately identify what do I favor and what do I avoid, right? Then start to work on the things that you avoid a little, see if you can bring them out a little more, see if that brings a little bit more balance to your sound, and then tweak it until you get the sound that you want. All right, good luck, you guys. Happy singing.